my lawn care ninjas, another day, another hot day, but you know what today is? What day is it today?
Sneaky Saturday.
Sneaky Saturday. And why is it a sneaky Saturday?
There's always something sneaky going on Saturday.
Always something sneaky going around on Saturday. For example, it is so freaking hot and we just finished well, we mowed today 2 of them. This last one we just did was a shrub job again. So we've been doing a lot of shrub jobs here lately,
yeah,
Busy Bee.
yeah.
But I didn't record again. I didn't, you know, because you guys saw it in the last video. We did a shrub job yesterday too. So, well, Friday really. But anyway, but I figured I'd start the video here. This is the new commercial property that I just landed. I kind of looked at this yard or this property, would you say, I think, what was it, a month ago roughly,
Probably
give or take?
Probably about a month.
Yep, and I did show some of you ninjas, of course, when I drove by here a little bit, I think on Instagram. And so this is going to be a bi-weekly. They do not have much grass, as you can see. It's mostly just weeds. So that is something they're aware of course. We talked about it, but what we are going to do this fall is of course aerate and overseed and all that, but we're going to throw down some topsoil, and that way that stuff hopefully will help and transform as far as for next season. But for now, of course, we're just going to keep it maintained and finish the season off. And you know, they really, even though there's not a whole lot of grass, they still want it touched up, trimmed up, and then just blow off the parking lot and everything. So in here there's a couple of flowers that Busy Bee's got to be real careful as he's trimming not to hit. They didn't put any sticks on all of them, so she said if you're unsure of something, leave it. But a lot of these, they got these little black sticks right there, as you can see. So we do got to be careful of not to hit those, just go around them as best as we can. I think we're going to redesign all this as we get closer to fall and when we start actually, you know, topsoiling and trying to change the whole landscape around here. But for now, to finish the season, we're just going to work with what we got. As you can see, this is new construction ninjas, so builders just left a bunch of clay here. I mean, you can tell even over there it's just clumps of rocks and whatnot. It's just not really good dirt if you're trying to actually grow grass. But I'll walk around here and show you. So there's really not much mowing going to be going on. I mean, I will make a pass and that is going to be it. So one thing, here's the water hoses. One thing that's part of the agreement that they would like for me to do is water their property, and that's why they left all those water hoses there. And if it doesn't reach all the way around, I'll have to disconnect and connect it to the front if they have a water faucet somewhere in the front. But I told them I don't have a problem doing that, even if we have to do it every time we come to mow every 2 weeks. It's not a big deal. Try to bring some of this stuff back if possible, but I ultimately told her the best thing to do is aerate, seed, and throw down some topsoil, because there's literally no topsoil. I mean, this is just red clay and rocks. As far as in here, they haven't really decided what they wanted to do in here, but I did tell her we'll try to weed eat as much as we can reach. I'll probably ask Busy Bee to jump on down, that's like a little bridge right there, and try to get some of this top stuff or taller weeds. All that's going to be weed eated through there. I can't obviously get a mower through there. Probably going to weed eat the whole thing. There's no point of trying to even get a mower in, like around the edge. It'd be just pointless. So this property, ninjas, is actually in pretty bad shape as far as grass goes, but we'll bring this back to life. For now, we're just going to maintain it for what it is, and it goes all the way as long as the walkway is down there. Where the walkway stops, that's where their property stops. Now that little walkway over there, that's got some weeds all through there. See what I'm talking about? It's terrible. It's terrible. But the previous guy that was maintaining this just wouldn't show up, or he would show up sometimes. He was just, I don't know. From what I understood, unless I misunderstood, they just didn't know what he was doing. It was just like never really on schedule, and he would just show up whenever. And I don't know. I don't know, and nor do I really care. It's not too bad. It's not a bad little account, and it'll look better when we bring it back to life, but let's get to it. So I've never actually seen a water faucet like this, and apparently you have to have a special kind of key to turn it on and off. I mean, I guess you could use some kind of pliers in there and needle noses, but so what did they do? They actually left me a brand new key for that. Have any of you ninjas ever seen this type of a key? I mean, I know I haven't. And this is a 4-way silcock key. What a name. But yeah, I've never seen it, so I'm guessing this is for me to keep, because she gave me a brand new one. And I'll show you how this ends up working out. Is actually starting to come down, but don't know with the rain the way it's been here, you know, it could be a 5-minute rain, 30-minute rain, could be an hour. So I'm still gonna go ahead and water whatever I can reach as agreed. Have you ever had unusual requests like that? And I say unusual just because it's not something that most customers will ask you to water their yard. And if you have, you know, how do you charge that? How do you go about that? I basically just look at the size of the property, and then, like, I know in every area you'd want to water it probably 5-10 minutes. So I basically just look at it as time-wise, you know, just time frame. But anyway, so what this key is, have you ever seen anything like this, Busy Bee? No? It's actually to turn on this water faucet. See? It's got different sizes. So I'm guessing it's this size right here. You want to grab that water hose and see which maybe it'll be that's going to kick off, and we don't want it to spray us. So let's see what it does. Very interesting. And that's it. So stretch it out, go around. You want to start the back. Put your thumb on it, finger. I'm sure you're good at doing that. And just start, yeah, from the front there and work your way back. So I have had unusual requests like this, but it wasn't watering. One of the things that I have had in the past was burning leaves, and that was unusual because that's not a lot of people are not going to ask you to burn leaves, but I did. But it turned out into a disaster, actually. And I guess I can tell you the story a little bit while we're waiting and Busy Bee's just watering all this. Good? So the customer, it was around fall time, and he asked me if I could burn the leaves in the backyard, which is something he said that he's done plenty of times before. And I said, well, you know, I don't have a lot of people ask me that, but yeah, I mean, I'm gonna have to charge you a little bit again for the time, but I can do that as long as you're giving me permission, and you know, you tell me a specific area where to burn. And he showed me, and it was like a backyard and a little spot, and you can tell he's been burning it there before. And so I did, but the neighbor hated me. I don't know what it was, but that neighbor just hated me. And it wasn't just burning the leaves. He disliked me mowing and weed eating and picking up dust and And then of course when I was burning the leaves, he hated that. I could tell just the way he was looking at me and coming out and looking at me. Well, anyway, my customer, not to turn this into a long story, but it probably will be, he was like, I'm leaving, I'm going out of town, I'm going to China, work related. But he gave me permission and all that, and he said, I've got the permit, burning permit, you know, or he said, I'm gonna go ahead and get the burning permit. And I had everything written out, of course, so that way it made him sign it, so that way I was protected and all that. Well, I started cleaning up the leaves. He was not home, and I started making the burn pile, and I didn't burn all the leaves at once, so I'd blow them to the backyard, and I'd do little sections at a time, of course, because there was a lot of leaves, and if I burned everything at once, it would have been a huge fire, and I, you know, wasn't going to do that. So anyway, I was burning these leaves, and that customer, I'm telling you, he was not, or the neighbor, he was not happy. Well, there's nothing he could do about it, because I even contacted my customer and I said, your neighbor's just not happy that I'm mowing. He's not happy that I'm here. He's definitely not happy that I'm burning the leaves. And he said, well, he can get over it. I don't care. All right, well, fast forward to what happened, the disaster. So one evening, afternoon, late afternoon, that was the last yard of the day, and I made it to the last yard of the day because I knew I was going to spend some time there. I knew that I was going to dedicate some time on burning these leaves. Well, we finished mowing or blowing off all the leaves. We finished all that, and then we decided to burn them. Well, we were there for about 3-4 hours burning a couple of small piles. We were getting rid of these leaves. So before we left, we turned off the fire. We watered it down. I mean, we soaked it with water. I mean, soaked it. I'm telling you, that burn pile was floating. Okay, so there was no way that that fire was going to come back on. And cleaned up after ourselves, and we left. Well, about 11:30 at night, yes, you heard me, ninjas, 11:30 at night, I'm getting a call from China. I was like, what the heck? And I knew it was him because, you know, knowing where he is at and whatnot, but I was like, why is he calling me at 11:30? But then it dawned on me, like, maybe because of the time difference, I'm sure, maybe he didn't realize it was that late over here. Well, I normally would never pick up to anybody that late. Why would I pick up, especially if it's a customer? Come on. But knowing the circumstances, you know, we were just at his house today, and the fact that he's out of town, I'm like, okay, maybe something, he needs something. So I picked up and I'm like, hey, and he's like, hey, were you at my house burning today? What's up? Oh, yeah. I figured that'd probably be easier. Mm-hmm. And you know, that's why they have that little head over here on this. Maybe that's in the future going to be even easier. Just leave it and move it. Yeah. But anyway, he's like, have you been at my house today burning? And I said, yes, I have. Dust. I was like, why? What's up? He goes, did you turn the fire off? I'm like, of course. Of course I did. I was like, we soaked it down with water. We made that whole little fire pit area, I said float, basically. It was floating with water. I said, what's up? He goes, well, I've got ambulance over there, firefighters. My whole backyard has caught fire. Everything. His boat burned. Melted, not burned, well, burned, but melted. His boat, ninjas, melted. The children's treehouse burned down to the ground. I mean, it was a disaster. And I was like, what in the world is going on? I said, listen, I can't remember his name right now, so we're gonna call him John, okay? I really don't remember it. I have it in my computer somewhere in my system, but I was like, John, I was there and I shut it off. I watered it like we agreed. That fire was no way that fire was gonna be coming back on. He goes, man, I don't know what is going on. He goes, but I'm just letting you know, it destroyed my boat. It melted it. The treehouse is gone. It caught a couple of trees on fire. The whole backyard was like Armageddon, like it's end of the world. And I freaked out, of course. I freaked out dramatically. So what did I do? Well, By the time I got off the phone with him, of course, and by the time I made it to that side of town, it was already like 12:30. Well, I showed up in the middle of the night basically with flashlights, because by the time I showed up, the firefighters were gone, the ambulance, everybody, whoever showed up, I don't know, but everybody was gone. So it was pitch dark. It was a quiet neighborhood, and of course the backyard didn't have any lights or anything, except the lights that came on the, you know, motion sensors. So there was some visibility, but we definitely needed the flashlights. Well, when we got there and I showed up and we started looking around, it was a disaster. As I mentioned, it was absolutely disaster. Everything burned down, his boat and tree house and trees. But one thing stood out to me. Where the fire burned, it was literally lines like that, like somebody took a gas can and, you know, as they were walking, they were basically spilling fuel. So when they lit it, the fire made a little pathway. So somebody intentionally burned his whole backyard, okay, and got his boat, got the kids' playground and treehouse and all. It was a mess. So I called him instantly and I said, John, I'm about to send you some pictures, sir, because I don't want you to think that this is me, okay? And he goes, what's going on? And I said, well, the damage is absolutely what you told me. I said, I'm gonna send you some pictures. I said, everything is gone, everything is destroyed, your boat and all that stuff. I said, but listen, man, somebody took a gas can and went around your whole backyard and covered it with fuel and lit the fire, and the fire just burned in those spots where they were walking, because there was little strips everywhere, but it was covered in the whole backyard. And I said, somebody just basically torched your whole backyard, and it wasn't me, that's for sure. And I was like, but I'll send you some pictures. So I took some pictures. I mean, I was like, here's how bad it was, ninjas. I even told him, I said, this needs to be looked into, not as just a backyard fire. I was like, this is a criminal situation. Somebody really tried to what if it torched his house? What if it, you know, burned down his whole house? I said, I'll tell you how far I'll even go to make sure that he's aware that it wasn't anything that we did. I said, I'm willing to call the police and make a police report, and then, you know, you take over from there when you get back home from China. And I was like, I'll make my statement. I'll say I was here, I had permission from you, you know, we did our thing. I watered the fire pit completely, and we left. And he said, you know what, Nick, don't do it. Don't worry about it, because I rushed so fast to make it, you know, to my flight and before he left out of town. He said that I didn't even get a fire burning permit. I didn't get a chance to get one. And I said, what? You told me you were gonna get it. And he goes, I did, but I had, you know, I didn't get a chance to. I completely forgot about it, and then when I thought about it, I was already on the plane. I said, so what do you want me to do? He goes, just leave it. Don't worry about the leaves, don't worry about the yard. I'll deal with it when I get back from out of town. And he's like, just leave it for now. And that's it. And ninjas, I never heard from John again. That was his, if that's his name even, but whatever, we'll call him John. I never heard from him again. He never messaged me again. He never asked for my services again. So he knew he had a neighbor from hell, and I don't know what he ended up doing with that neighbor. I don't know what ended up happening. I never got a call, I never got an update, and I sure as heck wasn't gonna bother him again. I was like, well, heck, if he needs me, he'll call me. But anyway, so sometimes when you take on jobs like that or special requests, really be careful. Anyway, that was thunder. Ever since then, I definitely will not ever offer burning leaves ever again, especially on customers' property. It's just not something I'm willing to do. I think I did have one more customer after that a few years back ask me or mention it, and I told him, nope, that is not what I do. So, you know, just be careful and make sure there's always everything in writing. So I had everything in writing. I made him sign it It was basically an agreement. I wouldn't call it a contract because I told him you could cancel my services at any time, but it was an agreement and understanding of him understanding what I was going to do on his property and agreeing to it. So if you ever are willing to take on such requests that are a little bit odd requests or something you don't normally do but you can, just make sure you have it in writing. Just make sure you are protected, and that way nothing comes after you or somebody puts a blame on you for something you haven't done. And you know, just protect yourself, that's all. But what a crazy story. I know it's a crazy story. It's a disastrous story, but you know, every now and then you will have somebody ask you something like that to provide some kind of a service that is unusual, such as watering, for example. You know, this is not something I do. This is not something I offer, or, you know, that I go out there and mention it on my own. But I'm happy to do it because, you know, this is pretty innocent. It can't do any harm. But, you know, just make sure, even with this, I had it in writing. I said we will water the property as far as the water hose can reach. I even wrote in there that the customer has to provide the water and the water hose. And so that way, you know, I don't have to worry about bringing my own water hoses and all that stuff. And if this water hose can't reach all the way to the front, I only water what it can reach. And if they want to give me more, you know, extensions, that's fine. But always write everything in your agreement or in your quote even. Sometimes you can even write that in your quote. All right, ninjas, I'm gonna conclude it here. We're just, basically, this is all we're gonna do and we're out of here, and it's thundering. You hear that? Oh yeah. So thanks for watching. Hope that's helped you. Take care of yourself and your business. Protect yourself. Always have everything in writing and make them sign it, or at least where they write you an email back that they have acknowledged it, accepted it. Just never take something upon yourself. Don't ever assume anything, and don't ever take it upon yourself to do something, even if your intentions are good and you just want to make the property look good. You want to go the extra mile. That extra mile can cost you, and it can burn you. Literally. Peace.